welcome to Creativity Conversations, where we explore the rich terrain of what it means to live a creative life. Today, I am freakishly excited to welcome someone who has inspired, challenged, and awakened countless people. Psychic artist and creative powerhouse, Denise Siegel. We'll be diving into the connection between creativity and intuition, the ways art and psychic awareness intertwine, and how Denise navigates creative blocks, inspiration, and spiritual expression. So from painting to prediction, she brings rare insight into the creative current that runs through all of us. And I'm going to say that again, that runs through all of us, even though you may not think so. And so get comfortable and light a candle if that's your thing. Get a beverage and join us. So, hi, Denise.
Hey, Gerald. I love your intro. It's very cute. It's very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good. I mean, you must have taken some work. That's also very creative.
It is.
Yeah.
And so people who are watching the amazing Denise Siegel's, all of your links are below in the description.
Oh, thank you.
I want to encourage people to go over, subscribe. You're on Substack. You can get a reading from her. All of my links are below as well. So if you want to show that support, as always, like and subscribe.
It's free.
It's free. I mean, you have to.
Right.
And
yeah.
I do remind everybody that this is for entertainment purposes only. Do not make decisions based upon what we say. Seek professional assistance. Really.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Denise, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Oh, of course. I'm really happy to do this. I think this is a really interesting thing that enough people don't talk about, actually. And that connection is real. Everyone is, like you said, is creative. They don't even realize it. I mean, from what you decide to put on your body in the morning to, all the different decisions that you basically make throughout your day, it's all creative, even if you don't see it that way.
Absolutely. I think when we adjust our mindset to see those as creative, we're going to start seeing more ways that we are creative without really doing anything different other than, I wonder if I think about this.
Right, exactly. I think that's the thing, is that creativity really stems from questioning things, really. And what we think about creativity stems from that kind of thinking about things just a little bit. Instead of like when you're in junior high school and everyone's wearing the DoorDash jeans, you go, you know what? I don't really like DoorDash jeans. I'm going to wear something else, those kind of decisions, where you question reality and think outside the box. People do it all the time. They just don't really realize they're doing it. And people like me and you maybe get sort of pigeonholed into the role of being the creative, which I think is weird. And I didn't really start having that experience until I was about in junior high school. And people started going, well, you're creative. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Everybody's creative. I mean, I just think that's a weird thing to call someone. Because not that I was offended, but I thought that's a strange, I don't understand that really. Because, it's just a form of expression and people use their voices all the time to talk, and that's creative. Everything humans do is creative, actually.
Everything that, I think you're absolutely right. And if we were to foster that, I remember being called creative, and it was sort of you're one of the creative kids.
Right, exactly.
We all know what that implies.
Artsy fartsy. Well, that's another word.
And,
right.
And it's just like going, well, maybe, but it's stop making it sound like it's a bad thing.
Right. Yeah, that too. There's definitely that as well. Like you're some kind of space cadet weirdo because you like to draw or be in a play or make music or something like that. Right. Like there's anything different about somebody who does that and anybody else. I think the only difference between people that allow themselves to engage in the creative process and everyone else is they give themselves permission to fail, to try,
Yes.
and that's it. That's
Yeah.
really it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think some of the most creative people are like scientists
Oh,
and
yeah, totally.
medical people, chefs. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
where do people come up with these ideas? And it's just fascinating. It's
Yeah,
just fascinating.
it
So,
is. I mean, I think that's the thing if you redefine creativity as basically just taking different ideas and putting them together in a unique way, that's what creativity really is at the core, you
yes.
know?
Yeah.
And it's an interesting thing that I didn't really notice or think about until I was doing research into sort of science, like psychic stuff,
Hmm.
and realized that when you've heard of the program, the remote viewing program that the U.S. government did.
Yes.
Well, they found the people in the military by taking people that were creatives. They took people that played an
Mhm.
instrument, did theater or music or painted or whatever. And they trained those people because they found statistically there was an intersection between people that were more intuitive and people in the arts. And I think the reason is that any kind of creative expression that you engage in is a meditative process, and you open yourself up to receiving information and kind of getting quiet within yourself. And so you're sort of training yourself to be open
Mhm.
to spirit, even if
Yeah.
you don't use it for that purpose, even if you use it to just make something cool. It's the same basic function of the brain.
I think you're right. We have people who are joining us, so thank you, everybody. And Beth, Aspasia Rising said, so perhaps creativity is a form of alchemy,
Yeah,
or is
I
that
think that's
pushing it?
true.
I
No, I
don't
think that's
think
true.
that's pushing it at all.
No, not at all. No, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I mean, you're taking different disparate elements, throwing them together and making something new out of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and
Mm.
I think that is something that, when we think of the temperance card in the tarot,
Mhm.
that's my, oh, you need to up your creativity and you need to be doing some magic, witchcraft, whatever, because that's when it's that idea of make do and mend. It's
Right,
like,
right.
okay, I have people coming over for dinner and I have a potato, three things of pasta and some cheese. What do I
Right,
do? So,
right.
yeah. So,
Well, that's an interesting intersection too, is magic and creativity, right? I mean, that you bring
mhm,
up, because really magic is the same thing. Or people
yes.
use visualization,
Mhm,
and that's a form of creativity. Uh, it's all the same thing, just kind of accessing the unconscious or the your own something higher than yourself and bringing it into fruition. It's
uh-huh,
all the same thing. Yeah.
absolutely. So can you share when you first realized that there was a connection between your creativity and your spirituality or your psychic abilities?
And that was later. That was much later, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I think I was always psychic, and then I started kind of showing more and more creative kind of stuff when I got to be like an elementary school, and got
Hmm.
more and more interested in the arts, and they were sort of felt like they were different tracks in a way,
Okay.
even though they probably weren't. But it wasn't until I was probably, maybe in my 20s that I started realizing that a lot of my friends who were artists were also very intuitive, and
Hmm.
that not all of them, mind you. I mean, some of them were like, I don't have any intuition at all. And that was true. I mean, not everybody
Yeah.
is that intuitive.
Yeah.
But most of them seemed to be sort of tuned in to things that were going to happen, or kind of tuned
Mhm.
into things that were happening. Some of
Mhm.
them I noticed could kind of almost like tune into the zeitgeist and kind of be ahead of a
Yeah.
curve so they can kind
Mhm.
of ride a wave. Um, and I started thinking about that. And I think the difference, and I also had friends that were psychics who were not practicing creative people, I always thought that was strange, like that they weren't,
Uh-huh.
because they seemed like creative people, right? But they
Mhm.
didn't always make anything. And I, they were the same type of people, but they almost took it. So I kind of thought of it as being utilizing the same energy as, you pull something down. And if you're an artist, you think about, how do I use this to make something new in the world? And if
Yes.
you're a psychic, you're thinking, how do I use this to help people,
Mhm.
to get better with their life? It's just
Mhm.
like a different intention.
Yes.
And that's all it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were creative very, very early in your life. I mean,
Yeah.
and were you in an environment that encouraged that creativity?
Well, I was in an extremely dysfunctional family, so that kind of
Okay.
it was kind of a way to work through a lot of stuff. It was sort of trauma based.
Okay.
My own kind of, I think that's probably true for a lot of creative people, that they come from very weird kind of dynamics at home.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Maru has put up your channel.
Oh, thanks.
So feel free to go over and subscribe. And yes, Hypnicity. What a fascinating guest.
Thank you. Very sweet.
So, um, so how does your creative work? Let me pause for a second. I was going to say,
Okay.
how does your creative work inform your psychic work, or vice versa? Why don't we go, what creative work do you do? What psychic work do you do?
And
And
how do they intersect?
how do they
Yeah.
intersect? Let's do that.
Okay. Well, they really didn't for a long time.
Okay.
um, I
That's
kind of,
honest.
yeah, I mean, they really didn't. And I always was trying to figure out a way to make them intersect, because they
Mhm,
were very on different tracks.
mhm,
I was sort of tracked to go to an art school because I had a teacher in high school who got me a scholarship to go to the Art Institute and pushed me to become a painter. And I got into Cal Arts without not really knowing what I was getting into,
mhm.
and got a scholarship to go there. So everything was sort of tracked in that way. And that was sort of very left-brained
Okay.
kind of like, well, what am I trying to say? What am I doing with my art? That's sort of
Mhm.
like, how do I make a statement? Or it was very sort of
Yeah.
conceptual in some ways.
I personally felt that that was extremely weighty. You had to make art that meant something and was going
Yes,
to change the
exactly.
world instead of just making
Making
art.
stuff.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And that whole thing, and that kind of bent in our art history with modernism and everything, and then postmodernism,
Mhm.
um, it's really awful, actually. It's really made my time at CalArts really uncomfortable and bad. And what I noticed, all the people at my school who were in the art program, they sort of shutting down, and their work got worse and worse, because what
Oh,
it does is it turns the sort of tap off when you overthink and you use your left brain too much.
yes.
And really, the reason that art is so great is that you throw something down. It's like doing a tarot spread, and you go, what is this saying about how I'm feeling right now? And what does this reflect about me? And you kind of do it in an unconscious way. That's the fun of it. It's not fun to think about, like, what am I trying to say? Okay, well, I started feeling like, well, why don't I just write a treatise? Like, why am I making art? I mean, it'd be
Yeah.
more effective to write a paper on what I think. And I
Mhm,
started writing a lot as a result of that. But
mhm.
so yeah, I think that whole left brain kind of approach that modernism took, I think it got to the place where you go to a gallery and go, I don't get what's going on here at all. Like, I don't relate. It doesn't move me. It's not beautiful. I don't get this.
Mhm.
And I'm really thankful that there's been an explosion of art on the internet, and people just relating to art again as art, instead of it having to be in this line of this lineage, this
Yes.
sort of left-brained art history lineage that makes you kind of, sort
Mhm.
of whips you into a certain path.
Yes. Yes. So you were Cal Arts, you were doing painting?
I started out as a painter, and then that wasn't good. You shouldn't be a painter. during the 80s and 90s. Okay. That's bad. You should be doing video art or
Oh
putting
yeah.
like, words on a piece of plexiglass or something like that.
Yep.
So I got a lot of shit for being a painter. And so it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I was like, why did I go to this art school? I can't even. So anyway, yes, I was a painter. I started doing a lot of photography too and other things,
Mhm.
but I started just writing a lot because of just the crap I got for being a
Yes.
painter. Yeah.
Mm. And you do have a book out, which is linked below.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
um, okay. Moon Fox Knight said, I'm with you there, Denise. I wanted to be an animator. And when I went to school for it, it didn't feel right. And the more I realized I would be working for someone else rather than me.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think being an animator, especially because you're on a team of people,
Yes.
you often have no say in what you want to do or how you're going to do it.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
I could see that.
So
But
then, go ahead.
but now being an animator, you can do everything yourself with, on your computer, which is fantastic. You can just do stuff
Yes,
on the internet,
the
which is cool.
computer, the tools that are available are phenomenal
They
now.
really are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did you start really noticing or working with the psychic abilities?
Oh, well, that started long. I was like that since I was a kid. My brother was, he's on the spectrum of autism and he's
Uh-huh.
got a lot of learning disabilities. So he didn't talk till he was about 5. So I used
Mhm.
to talk for him. I could hear what he was trying to say.
Ah, uh-huh.
And then there was a deaf girl down the street who I did that for as well. And then I didn't think anything of it. It was just part of like how I was.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until I was a little older and realized that people were freaked out by it that I started realizing there was
Oh,
something weird about me. And then I started having a lot of experiences. So that was like a whole other track, like trying to deal with that aspect of things.
yes.
And so even in high school, people would come up to me and ask me to give them a reading, you know, um,
Oh, okay.
random people that I didn't really know who heard about it. And
Uh-huh.
that's how it started. Then I was doing more of it at CalArts and things like that and on and on. Yeah.
And okay. And so tarot, you use tarot?
Yeah, I used Tarot. I started with Tarot, and then as soon as I graduated, pretty much I worked at a library, like you, for a little bit. I
Mhm.
worked in animation a little bit, and then I ended up working as a psychic when I was in my early
Oh, wow.
20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
On one of the hotlines?
Yes, on the
Okay.
first hotline, and
Wow.
the very first one. Yeah. It was pretty wild because there was just everybody was in their cubicles. So you're with all of these other psychics and astrologers and stuff. And
Mhm.
I was using cards, and then I met a bunch of astrologers, and that's how I got interested in astrology, was through
Mhm.
that experience. It's kind of cool.
That's great. So all of these things have come together, and how does creativity interact with those? Does it help, make it harder? I mean, do they interact?
Well, in more recent times, so it took me a while to get over the trauma of going to art school. Honestly, I mean, I kind of almost just had to like work through all of that crap,
Wow.
you know.
Uh-huh.
And I think over the last 10 years, I've kind of been able to sort of throw it away and just do art that I want to make. And
Mhm.
still trying to, I'm still like trying different things and just enjoying the process.
Yes.
Um, but I started trying to kind of, well, I'm interested in spirituality. That's like the I Ching with a crystal ball. I
Mhm.
want to, so I just like, I'm just going to make stuff that, has that intersection in it for myself. I don't care if someone wants to buy it or whatever. And so that's kind of, I really, in the last 10 years, I started trying to find that interplay. Yeah.
How has the last 10 years been for you since you've gone, "Oh, I'm just doing this for me and I'm connecting them."
Much better. Much better. I don't put any pressure on. I mean, I didn't even put up a website for my art until like a week ago or something, or a few days
Mhm.
ago,
Oh, that's
because
right. You talked about that on
yeah,
Substack, I
Substack.
think, something like
Yeah,
that. Yes. Uh-huh.
very soft, kind of like if you want to see it, whatever. But I feel like it's so much more fun to be in the place of the process of just doing it
Yes.
instead of worrying about, and if people want it, that's great. If they don't, that's okay,
Mhm.
So I do a lot of just like, I do a lot of watercolors that are just sort of like, which I never did before, but just sit there and just let it kind of talk to me. And I really love that process of just sort of, it has a mind of its own kind of thing. And I just let it talk to me. It's fun.
I love that. I understand that there's that sense of flow when you're really connected with the medium that you're using and the
Right.
subject matter. And then for me, I have to get myself out of the way and just
Yes.
go, it's like, oh, wow, how did I do that?
And that's so much more interesting than trying to control it. When you start to try to control it, it's not very fun anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and for me, I want this all to be fun. I want it to be enjoyable.
Yes.
Things can be enjoyable and still be hard work.
Yes.
It's a really important thing. There's a sense of joy in working hard at something.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think it should be, you should be, really the best things are usually when you don't even really know how they happened. You know what I mean? When it's some kind of other part of yourself. And that's the intersection with the psychic thing too. It's like
yes.
when you give the best information is usually when you don't remember saying it. You're like, I don't remember saying that, but the person hears it and you said it, but you're out of your own way. And that's the
Yes.
same thing with the creative process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know when I do a lot of readings and I will record them for someone, I'm like, "Oh, good, because I'm not going to remember this."
Right.
I mean, and and sometimes I'll have people come back to me and say, "Do you remember when you did that reading for me?" And I'm
Hmm.
like, "No." Help me
Right.
out. And then sometimes I can go back into
And
the
kind of remember it.
yeah
Yeah. Yeah.
pages. So,
Yeah. That's always the best readings are when
oh
you're like
yes,
that.
yes. More people have joined us. It's great to see everybody here. Thank you. So, when you feel creatively blocked or stuck, what do you reach for or return to that helps you to reconnect?
I stop when I'm blocked and I do what I call gestate.
Okay.
So,
Mhm.
what I do is
I
I
like
start
that.
I read a bunch of things, I look at a bunch of things. I don't put any pressure on myself to try to make anything. I just kind of allow myself to kind of work through it unconsciously,
Hmm.
and I try to kind of just feed my mind with a lot of new things, and then I kind of allow myself to just kind of start at that point because it feels like sometimes you get to a place where I think what I found is when you something's run its course, you'll often get blocked. You're like, well, what do I do now? And if you think about it too hard, what happens is you make really shitty stuff. You just kind of don't, you're just pushing it. So I feel
Yes.
like it almost needs like, just like having a baby, you know, it needs to grow and kind of get into your unconscious and kind of make connections and allow the next thing to kind of come out. And that's
Hmm.
kind of what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how the word gestate is a great word for that, because what you're doing is you're shifting, you are pulling in new resources, whether
Right.
it be a book, music, food.
Right.
You're
Experiences.
still showing up,
Right.
and it being okay for it to be different than what it was.
Right. To kind of go inward or allow yourself to kind of grow and then come out with something new instead of putting pressure on yourself to feel like you have to constantly pump out the same thing over and
Yes.
over again. Yeah.
Yes.
It gets
Yeah.
boring.
I've been
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of reading about writing.
Uh huh. Yeah.
Stephen King on
Yes. That's
writing.
a great book.
It
Yeah.
is a great book. Annie Lamont, the
Yep.
Big Magic is a great book. And part of it is it talks about the importance of showing up,
Interesting.
not worrying about if it's going to be good. It's
Right. That's the
just
more.
do something.
That's right. That's a huge, especially with writing. I found that if you just do it every day for so
Mhm.
much time, it doesn't matter how good or bad it is. Eventually, it gets good. You know,
Yes.
and eventually you kind of figure out what you want to say. But I find with visual art, I you can get stymied because you'll end up repeating yourself, just like with music. I don't know if you play
Mhm.
music, but
I
if
don't,
you,
but my husband does. Mhm.
so I used to write songs and then I would find that I would repeat certain chord changes over and over again. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause you just get into these weird physical habits when you're
Mhm.
painting or when you're making things. It's almost like it's in your body and you have to break that cycle and kind of restart.
Mhm.
That's, but with writing, I think it's the more you do it, it's not like that. It's an intellectual exercise, so you don't have to break your physical habit, if that makes
Yes.
sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah,
Well, and there's a lot to be said about when you have incorporated that into your being,
right,
and you can do those notes, uh, uh, because then if you allow yourself to go, well, let's go bigger, let's go
right.
smaller. There always has to be a starting point.
Sure, sure. Yeah,
So, and
yeah,
I
that's true.
remember I remember a college professor explaining to us in a painting class, because we all had our blank white canvases.
Yes.
And I think he asked people, how you feeling? And it's like, oh, some people were excited, and then others of us were nervous because
Right.
we didn't want to do it wrong.
That's the problem with, so I mean, that's the thing that you have to give yourself permission for. That's the number one thing. I
Mhm.
found, like, I have a friend who's an amazing, like, just naturally gifted writer from
Yes.
very early on, and she's so hard on herself and such a perfectionist that she just stopped writing altogether and hasn't written probably
Wow.
in 30 years because it's never going to be good enough for her. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
I just feel like, don't, you know, I have the exact opposite kind of feeling about it. It's like nobody has to see all the crap that you write. Nobody has to see
Yes.
all the bad paintings that you paint. Just do it. Do it because
Yes.
you enjoy it, and don't worry about what other people think of it, you know?
Yes. I love
That's,
that. Yeah. Well, and think about, Leonardo da Vinci's sketchbooks.
yeah.
Maybe he thought those were crap,
He
and
might have.
he might have thought that they were crap, and he took
Right,
all
just
sorts of
doodles.
notes, and
Right.
so all that. So, do you have creative rituals or practice that you've developed over the years that support your intuitive and spiritual life?
Hmm. Um, I don't know. I haven't, that was an interesting question. I saw that you had
Hmm.
posed, and
Yeah.
I really, I mean, that's a hard question, because I don't really, I guess just getting the things in front of me together is about the biggest thing. You know, just I'm kind of bad about this. Like, I'm very chaotic. Helen would hate my house because I have piles of stuff everywhere, and
Me too. I
I
see you.
can't. Yeah,
I
right.
see
I,
you.
I feel like I'm kind of, a little bit of a chaotic nut, and that's kind of, I guess, I don't like my piles to be disturbed because it kind of keeps me sort of in the sort of some part of my brain active in thinking about how I'm going to solve that problem. And I guess that's the closest thing I think to having some kind of ritual is that kind of, I need my stuff there so I can look at it and kind of figure it out in some unconscious way.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes complete sense to me, actually, because there is a sense of availability with the piles for me.
Yes, exactly.
I like to have my tools around me.
Right, right,
I'm surrounded probably by 150 different decks,
right. Wow, that's
because
a
it's yes. Hi, my name is Gerald. You may not have known this, but tarot stash, because I have quite a large stash.
stash. I see.
So
So it's
there you
got a
go.
double entendre thing going
Yes.
on.
but it's this idea of is when it still feels good and it feels like it's supporting.
Right.
And I know for me, there are some times when I go, ooh, there's just too much
Yes,
here.
that does happen.
And
Yes.
when that happens, part of my ritual is to go, all right, I literally light a candle, burn some incense, and then I put things back
Back
where
in
they
order.
belong.
That, yeah, I do that every once in a while too. I'm
Yes.
not as good at it as I should be. Yeah.
So I want to get caught up in chat, and Tom
Sure.
Early Ritual says that is 3% of his collection.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it's 3%. It may be 10, 15%. It's okay. Tom
Wow.
also said the problem isn't other people seeing the crap work. It's you knowing you created that crap. Ask me how I know.
That is another problem. You're right. There
Mhm.
are people who are not critical enough at all of their stuff, that they don't understand enough about the art to be able to sort of know that they're doing a job that other people wouldn't want to
Yes.
see. That is a problem sometimes, but
Yeah.
that's lesser of a problem.
I wish I could remember who it was, but when I was in college, I read about an artist who on his studio walls he put up bad paintings that he made.
Oh, wow.
And he put them up because he wanted to look at them and figure out how
What was
to
wrong with
make
him?
them better. So
Right.
his mindset was very much a creative, let's see what this looks like and
Right,
how to
right.
make it different. I think that's a fascinating approach to it. And I think that's fairly healthy because
It is, and that's a really good point that he brings up, because you do have to have some critical thought at a certain point. Like, you have to look at your painting and go, "This sucks. I'm gonna burn this one." You know what I mean? Or, "This is really pretty awesome. I like what I did here, and I don't like this part of it. I like that part of it." So you have to have sort of the critic and the sort of just throw your, like the fool card, just throw yourself off the ledge kind of thing. You
yes.
have to have both things going on.
Yeah. Well, and I did that recently. I'm working on a commission, a painting with fabric for my sister, for my great nephew. It's a commission. And when I went away for a retreat, I was going to, oh, I'm going to do it this way. And I'm going to work on this piece and this piece and this piece. About day two, I was like, no, it's not working. It's not working. And so I switched gears and I did something else. I figured out why it wasn't working is because I was doing something completely not what I would do. I didn't even start
Oh,
with what I knew. I
wow.
thought, let's start something completely different. And it wasn't successful.
Right, right, right. Because you're taking too big of a leap too fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, but I've pulled back, I've ripped things apart,
Right,
I
right.
have seam ripped and all that. And that can be I think pulling back can be really enlightening,
You can, yeah.
unknitting or tinking for those of us who are knitters. So, do you know that? Tink,
No, no, I
tink.
didn't know that word, tinking. Is that just tearing out your old stuff, or pulling it out, or
Hang on. When you tink,
tink? Nice
it's
word.
knit backwards.
Oh, nice. That's right. Like
That's
tinkering, but
not a
knitting.
meism. So,
That's cool.
yeah, yeah. Progress comes through
Contemplation.
contemplation.
That's right.
Mhm. And it is yeah, you do have to have those moments of trusted people who can
Yes.
come in and actually look at you when you know they're meaning it with a full and open heart when they say, "What are you doing? What does that mean?"
Right.
So, I mean, at least that works for me.
Right.
That
Yeah,
works.
I think if there's I've also found that it's really helpful when you make a piece and you're unsure about it, to just like put it somewhere, whether it's a piece of writing or music or art,
Mhm.
Just don't look at it for a couple weeks or longer,
Yes.
and then come back and go, and then decide, because you're switching out of that like sort of maker mode, and
Yes.
your critic comes out and you go, well, this works and that doesn't. I could fix this. I could not, and you can kind of be your own critic that way too. Kind
Yes.
of, yeah.
When did you learn how to do that?
That thing where I'm talking about, like,
Yeah.
probably when I started really writing a lot is
Okay.
when I really learned to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would say that was kind of a lesson of writing a lot, is
Yes.
realizing that you can't edit yourself. You have to give it time. You can't even see, literally can't see the words that you wrote wrong. You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
weird.
Well, and there are two different mindsets. There's the writing mindset and
Right.
then the editing.
That's
They are
right.
very different aspects.
That's absolutely right. And they apply to every art form, but in writing, you can't get away with fudging that. You can kind of get away
Yes.
with fudging it as a painter, but you
Mhm.
can't as a writer. Yeah.
Yes. I think it's really fascinating. Tom has shared, yeah, it's a process of contemplation, trepidation, excitation,
Meditation.
and
And
then release. Then revisit and see if it makes any sense to you.
that's right.
It's true.
That's right.
Well, isn't it? I think it's a fascinating thing is if human beings periodically were to sit and relax and to meditate and to check
Mm.
in with they are where they are physically, what's going on in their body. That's a very gestalt thing. What's
Right.
going on, but that could be very, very impactful because we're always having to move, and do things.
That's true. That is, I was actually I knew you were going to talk about that. It was really
Uh-huh.
weird. But I also think that the other thing that people, even when they're being quiet, they don't always listen to themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I think it's really important to get quiet and let your mind kind of just ruminate and go into different places, like daydream kind of,
Mhm.
and just put things together and question things and go, well, does that make sense to me? And just allow yourself to have time to do that, and trust yourself. It's
Mhm.
a lot of balancing that you have to do, I think, but it's doable for
Yeah.
everyone. Yeah.
I love that. I would hope people who are watching with children
Hmm.
could help to normalize the idea of sitting and staring off into space.
I think that's so important. I mean, I think if I wasn't so neglected as a child, I wouldn't be creative. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a challenging way to get there. I'm sorry that you went through that.
I make you a little bit of a joke about it, but
And at the same time, I'm glad you went through it. If
yeah,
I
right.
mean,
No, that's the same how I feel about it. I feel like there's a generation of kids that I talk to a lot. Astrologically, they're the generation you would call them the millennials, where
mhm.
they have this Uranus Neptune conjunction in Capricorn. I know I'm talking a foreign language, but basically, they have been overscheduled as kids. They weren't given any kind of time to just daydream and
Yes.
get to know what themselves. And as young adults, they've had a lot of them have had crisis of, what am I doing with myself? Who am I really? Because they never had that time to sort of just dream or stare off into
Mhm.
space or have
Yes.
leisure time. It's really important for people to have
Yes.
that.
Absolutely. You're right. I knew he was an engineer and he worked with engineers, and part of what they had is they had an agreement that if you saw a tie on their door, it meant they were actually thinking
Oh,
and
wow.
they were staring off into space. They weren't writing, they weren't doing anything, but they were thinking about all of the possibilities and
Right.
thinking like that. It's a very interesting thing. I mean, I would encourage people, 5 minutes, 5 minutes a day, if you can just sit, put down your phone, and let your mind wander.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think people, like, for me, before I go to sleep sometimes, or if I'm taking a shower, all kinds of stuff
Oh
comes
yes.
in. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Because I'm not being preoccupied by something else and just,
Yes.
yeah, it's really helpful to have that
It
time.
it it really is, and, some people are better at that than others. I'm
True.
not very good at it, and so
I'm
but
not very good at what? What do you mean?
I'm not very good at slowing down enough to give myself
Time?
my thought process a chance to finish things up.
Right. Interesting.
However, when I do, uh, it's it's uh, it's really helpful for me because suddenly I get this motivation and this excitement,
Yes. Yes.
and the dreariness just falls off. And I'm going, oh, okay, there you
Yeah.
go. And I'm going, oh, I'm going to be doing all of this. This is not going to work. And I'm looking, I don't care because I just want to do it. I just want to see what happens.
Right. You know what's interesting is people often resist the very thing they need the most. You know
Uh-huh.
what I'm saying? Don't you think?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, if we could schedule the things that we needed the most.
I mean, I feel like it's like if you're depressed, right? Whenever someone's depressed, the first thing they do is isolate themselves, right? And they don't pray or do any meditation.
Yeah.
They don't go to the gym. They don't take care of themselves. But all of the things to talk to someone, do some meditation, do some praying, take a walk, all of those things will lift you out of that depression. But those are the things you avoid completely when you're
Yes.
really bummed out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very fascinating. And well, and we also don't take the time to recognize that we're feeling depressed or that we're sad
That's
or that
true.
we're angry. We don't recognize it.
Yeah, that's probably true, until you're already well into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a person who I believe if you can name something, then you can do something about it. If you
Yeah, no, I agree with that. No, definitely. Yeah.
and So Cottonwood Hart said, for me, it's about finding a strong theme. For example, a love letter to Mother Nature. I can only speak to
To visual
visual.
artists.
That's
Yeah.
still really good.
Yeah, that's good. That's a lot of the way a lot of visual artists work is kind of in a thematic way like that,
Mhm,
and they kind of fall in love with a certain aspect of it and they kind of just they
yeah,
do that.
mhm.
I totally that's great. That's a really good way to look at it.
So creativity. This is the $1 million question. Do you see creativity as a form of resistance in today's world?
I think it can be used that way for sure.
Hmm.
Um, I think the best way to subvert authoritarianism probably is through creativity.
Hmm.
How you respond. We're going to have to think out of the box. We're going to have to
Yes.
solve problems differently than we normally have. Um, and that's all very creative. And also making statements like, for example, the South Park guys are able to do things that are really, really controversial, but in a funny way so that they don't get the same backlash
Yeah.
as somebody else would. So creativity is a huge tool for, saying, having a voice and making it kind
Mhm.
of a fun and enlightening experience. But yeah, so I think it is there's so many reasons why creativity is hugely important. I mean,
Mhm.
the other thing is the connection people have to one another through creative
Oh,
things,
yes.
and connecting with people through it.
Mhm.
And I think the world is going into a place where creativity is about the only thing we're going to have left, really. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, AI is going to be sort of intellectually superior to us in many ways. And our creativity and our ability to connect with one another are really core things of being human.
Yes, especially that creativity. Helen and I were talking about this last week. The idea of when you do a sewing bee, or you would sit and sew. Part of it is you weren't just sewing something to keep people that you love warm. You were also sharing what worked for you, what's
Hmm.
going on in the garden. Does anybody have a suggestion for this? My
Right.
child needs help with this. It's that sense of community.
Community. Right. Right. Definitely.
It's
Yeah.
it's so very important. So, when trust me, the knitters of the world are the ones who they're contemplating what's going on, and they're contemplating for entertainment purposes only how they're going to take people out to make sure that there is enough.
Right, right, right. No, I agree. And knitting in itself, to me, the reason I love knitting so much is it is so meditative. I mean, it is so, it's just like, it's very calming and also very, it's just really, unless you're doing the counting thing, which I don't do that.
We talked about this backstage.
Yeah, I don't do
Not
that.
counting.
I just make up things as I go, and I'll knit a hat, or I'll figure out the math of it, and then I'll do that. I'd rather do that than follow a recipe, someone else's, or I don't know. I just can't do that. It's not a personality.
Well, and you just mentioned following a recipe. People are more creative than they realize. Stop
Yes.
overcomplicating it, people.
Right.
Seriously, stop overcomplicating creativity.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Are
No,
you,
I agree.
yeah, are you putting things together in a new way? Are you adjusting that recipe based upon what you have available to you?
Right. Right. I think that your other person, I don't remember which person who in the chat said, the problem is that people basically do things sometimes that are, I understand what this person's talking about, that. And this is one of the things I think that stops people from trying to engage in creativity. Like, I had a friend in high school. Did a lot of theater in high school too, as well.
Yes.
And yeah, but
Yeah.
often people have a narrow view.
Narrow
Absolutely.
yes. Go ahead, finish your thought. Sorry.
No, no problem. So I had this friend. I did a lot of theater, and I had a couple of people I knew who were trying to be involved in theater, and they would get sort of like, they'd be in the chorus or something because they weren't really good actors, and they auditioned for everything, and so they wanted to be part of it. And there were some people that were just so untalented, as actors, that whatever, you don't think about it, but they were embarrassing to watch sometimes.
Mhm. Yeah.
And one of these people that I knew, she was a nice woman and everything, but anyway, she was a nice young girl. But she told me senior year, I'm going to go off to New York and try to be a Broadway actor. And I was like, oh boy, okay. Well, that's, she didn't end up obviously becoming a Broadway actor, but I understand that, because that can be a barrier for some people, to see people who put themselves out with their butt hanging out and just embarrassing themselves.
Yes.
And people are like, oh, it's cringy and everything like that. But still, that's better than never trying it at all, I think. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Even if you can't get to that level where you're professional, it's still better than not doing it at all, because you're at least doing what you like.
Yes.
That's what I think.
And it is important for us to be doing the things that we like, and to be
Yes.
making time for that. If you are a scheduler, schedule that stuff first, because those are the big rocks, because those are what keep you up. I mean, it's so important. Okay, we've had some great chat.
Okay, question.
It's crazy that that we are in a place where micros with googly eyes are some of the strongest political discourses we have right now. Yeah. And compassion is the core of being human, in my opinion. If
Yes,
compassion or empathy are gone, we are no longer human. That is our one gift. Just my view.
I agree with that. I totally agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yes. Creativity also needs to be fed. What moves your soul, seeing and experiencing beauty on a cellular level, then channeling it outwards.
100% agree. That's the whole gestation thing.
Yes.
That's exactly right. You have to take in things in order to
Yeah.
have them come out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Beth also said, yes, I think everyone is creative, but people often have um, a
Yeah,
narrow view of what creativity is. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
that's absolutely true. And I think the other thing about it is if you're somebody who is hypercritical of yourself, you're probably not going to suck at being an artist, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
I found that people that are really hypercritical of themselves generally are the greatest artists. If they can just get past it to make the leap. Do you know what I'm saying? To do it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I do have to say, tomorrow I have another creativity conversations with Deborah Zachow and Linda De Gonzalez. We're talking about fear.
Right.
Fear is extremely important. Fear at a base level, guess what? Kept us alive back in the day.
That's true.
I mean, it did. It
Right.
did.
No, you're
So,
right.
yeah. And so, but there's more things with that. River Mistletoe said that artists are their own worst critics, or just the opposite. They
Yeah,
don't
that's
put
right.
themselves with
That's so
that on.
that's the truth. That's a weird dichotomy is that
Hmm.
usually I mean, this is my feeling is the good artists are their own worst critics. And then there are people that they're not critical of what they do at all. And they don't usually grow very much. You know what I mean? And those people don't usually end up getting that far with their art
Hmm.
because they don't push themselves that
Yes.
much.
And Beth added, Gerald, and the connection of fear with judgment.
Yes. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
That's the real fear right there.
yeah. And Moon Fox Knight 17 said, all right, I have to get going. Have a great day, everyone. Love the stream, and it was nice to meet you, Denise.
Thank you, Moonfox Knight 17.
So, um, what are you currently creating, exploring, or dreaming into existence?
Well, I've been wanting to do a lot more. I started out being a figurative painter, and
Okay.
then I kind of, I got sort of pushed away from that. And so I've been kind of going back into trying to just really do more figurative kind of work because I'm really fascinated by people. And that's kind of the thing about being a psychic and an astrologer is I'm fascinated by what makes people tick. And I'm
Yeah.
also fascinated with the way people look and how their expressions. I really just have a thing about people and like studying them. So I'm going back into that more now. I'm really trying to just focus on doing more figurative work again
Hmm.
and kind of like throwing myself into that a
Hmm.
lot. Yeah.
That makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah. I personally I like color a whole lot. I
Yes,
like
I do too.
putting colors that aren't supposed to go next to each other
Yes,
next
I
to
do
each
too.
other,
Right,
because
right.
I just want to see what it does on in the artwork.
Right. That
Um,
usually turns out really cool, I think, when you do that.
it's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That works very well when I'm working with fabric landscapes.
Right.
I
Wow.
have a huge stash of fabric, surprise, and a huge stash of yarn.
Right, same.
When I get into something, boy, Denise, I
I'm
go
the
into
same
it.
way.
I
I'm insane that way, I
Yeah,
have to say.
yeah.
I
Well, and
it's
for me, I rationalized it. It was very much for me. I like to have a lot of options.
yes, same. I'm the same way. You should
Yeah.
see how many brushes I have. It's obscene. It really is.
Well, and see, and here's the thing. I recently I did a video talking about this, that sometimes limitations
Are
are the
helpful.
most freeing thing, because
Yes.
if you're to tell me, Gerald, if you're to say, Gerald, I want you to paint a painting of whatever it is that you want, I'm like,
What do you want?
huh?
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
But if you say, Gerald, I want you to make a painting that's just this size, don't make it any bigger or any smaller. And
Right.
trust me, I'm going to figure out a way to make it bigger and smaller at the same time.
Right.
So, but it's one of those things that I think we have to. This goes back also to that idea. And do you need to talk about the importance of rhythms and cycles in people's lives, Denise? Do you need to say anything about that? I just
I
got
think
this
there
nudge.
well, no, I think that is how things work, you know? I think there are rhythms and cycles of creativity, and there are rhythms and cycles of, you know, growth, you know? And I think a lot of times people get kind of frustrated with themselves when they go through a cycle that isn't as exciting. You know what I'm saying? Where they're kind of in a cycle where they're inputting and they're trying to get to the next place, and they get really angry at themselves and frustrated. And really you should just accept it and kind of um just go with that. I found that it's a
Mhm.
lot less destructive if you just go with downtimes sometimes too, you know?
Yeah, yes. I think when we notice our own cycles, this is where I wish I had kept a journal growing up.
Right.
I wish I had kept diaries, because then I could be able to notice and recognize what
What
is
the
it?
signs are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what the signs are. What is it? An 18-year cycle or something like that. I was just talking with Michelle Marie, and she was mentioning, oh, this is something that happens every 18 years for you. And I'm like, I don't remember yesterday,
Right.
let alone 18 years
Yeah,
ago.
right.
But when we honor and notice the rhythms, and all I'm talking about is honoring them and noticing them, not changing them.
Right, right, right. I think it's self-acceptance to a large degree. This is the thing that people have a real problem with, I think, and this is a
Mhm.
huge part of being here on this planet, whether it's in your life or your creative work, is self-acceptance. I know a lot of the times when I paint something, I don't like it because it looks too much like me, which is a sad thing to say.
Aw.
But sometimes I feel that way. I'm like, oh, it looks like I made that. I go, you know, and then I
Mhm.
have to put it away and go, it's actually pretty good. It doesn't suck. But
Yeah.
I think there's something about that. Like we all have this issue on some level with self acceptance and self love and being able to kind of, and that goes with not honoring your cycles, not really honoring your kind of work that you're doing, and being too hard on yourself. Being hard on yourself can be good, it pushes you forward. But being too hard on yourself becomes like, you know, breaks, you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm. I think that's one of the great things about when you are in relationships,
Yes.
not just sexual or anything like
No,
that, but
right.
when
A
you
real
are in
partnership.
truly intimate relationships, and you can see somebody who you suddenly go, okay, I think I recognize these signs. I'm going to figure out a way to go, gee, have you noticed this has been going on? You've been talking about this a lot. And there's a lot of power in that, and the community.
Right, right. The mirroring. You're talking about mirroring. And that's a
Mhm.
really huge, huge thing. I think everybody needs that, some kind of mirror, somebody, either a best friend or a partner, somebody to kind of show you yourself from a different. I think that's what readers do a lot too.
I think so.
When when you don't have a partner going to a reader, a lot of people do that because it's somebody that can mirror yourself and show you things that you don't see anymore because you're too. It's like you're writing the draft and you don't see the words anymore. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Well
Yeah.
said. Well said. Irene said what Maru suggested worked for a couple of great artists I know who were part of a locally promoted clique. I don't remember what that is. And then Early Ritual said, it's funny because I am someone very much obsessed with buying new tools and implements. And when I was an active sculptor, the only tool I ever used was clay and a paring knife.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah. I think sometimes you buy tools to inspire you to make work.
Uh huh.
That's a lot of why I do. I'm like, oh, I'm going to try this new thing, and that's going to get me to do this new idea. I think there's something to be said for that. If you're really always like, I could say the same. I mean, I didn't have any money when I was going to Keller, so I had like limited paints and limited
Yes.
supplies, and I had to produce what I had to produce. But now that I have, you know, more time and I'm older and I have more money, I just what you know, oh, I'm gonna try this thing. I'm gonna try that thing. I think there's something to be said for trying to inspire yourself by buying the tools or like having a
Mhm.
million Toro decks. I get that. I have that too. I mean, it's like, oh, this one will be great. I'll learn
Yes.
something new. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And River Mistletoe said, as a potter, I have so many tools I never use because I stick with the same oldies. One of my favorite tools just broke after 15 years, and I'm
Oh,
lost. Oh,
that sucks. You to get a new version of that. Yeah. I think that's true. That's what I find too. I have all these things, but I end up using the same things over and over again often. Yeah.
but I am a person who I do like to surround myself with
Options.
options. I also like to surround myself by artwork that I love.
Oh, that's good.
I
Yeah.
I I am a give me the salon style
Oh,
floor to
yeah.
ceiling
Yeah, right.
stuff
Right.
because I like that. It's inspiring.
Right.
It's
Right.
inspiring. So I love that. Um, are you reading anything of late?
Not I haven't really been reading anything that much. I mean, I've been listening to different things. I haven't had a chance to really physically take a book. I've been listening to the Tibetan Book of the Dead.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I've been listening to Nuclear War, which is just like random things that are not, I mean, not related, but, you know, yeah, nothing that I would,
I
you know,
think one of the things that's just I think there's a great deal of importance of playing with different sources of information.
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because suddenly there may be this connection that shows up that you may never have that you may not
Absolutely.
have expected. Play with that. You know, follow the fascination. What do you think is fascinating? Then follow it. See where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do a lot of listening to stuff about UAPs and bizarre phenomenon and paranormal things just out of curiosity. What's going on, trying to figure this mystery out. I think that's another thing I really love about making art is it's kind of like doing a puzzle sometimes. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yes, yes.
It's sort of like, how do these things fit together and how do you
Mhm.
perfect this thing? And there's that aspect of it too that I
Oh
really
yeah,
enjoy.
I do
Yeah,
too. I did a lot of collage art, and that was fun.
I bet. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And River Missile Faye, Mist Faye said, "I like my new nickname, River Mistletoe."
So
You're welcome.
will be my UTIFer name.
I love it. I love it. I do have before I ask my last question.
Sure.
What do you have coming up that because I know everybody has already followed the links and they're gone over, they subscribe to you on Substack, all of that stuff. What do you got coming up that's you're really looking forward to?
Well, me and Helen do this thing every Wednesday night, which I
Mhm.
really enjoy doing. It's hard to find on YouTube because she's kind of hidden it in this thing called Organic Productions, I think, but it's called The Cosmic Fold, and it's been the reason I've been doing so much research into all these bizarre paranormal things is because we cover all these really weird supernatural mysteries and stuff like that. It's always really fascinating and a lot of fun, and it's really nice because it's kind of a break from reality a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And all the other things, it's sort of like a novelty thing. It's really quite fun. So I'm really enjoying that right now, doing that every Wednesday.
Oh,
It's been
good.
good.
And
Yeah.
yeah, you do pretty regular shows with
Yes, with Deborah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you also you hang out with Helen
I do.
and
Yes.
oh, wait a minute. Helen, if you're watching this, invite Denise to our next knitting. Um, and Linda De Gonzalez has come in. She is on with me tomorrow talking about fear.
Yeah, I'm curious about that one. That sounds
Yes,
interesting.
it's
Yeah.
I've and by the way, in case you guys didn't know this, I am an overachiever. So I did send Denise a list of 10 questions.
Right.
You should see the one for tomorrow. But anyhow, it's part of my charm. So we'll talk about that. Okay, so what do you wish more people understood about the link between creativity, intuition, and magic?
I think that people need to realize that they have all of those abilities and that they're all the same thing. Basically, your imagination is the same thing that creates creativity, is the same thing that makes magic possible. The imagination is where all of these, and also where psychic ability is sort of comes from as well. People would often say when I would teach people how to use their psychic ability, they go, but I feel like I'm just making this up. I'm like, that it's just my imagination. I'm like, it's all the same thing. When you reach into the imagination space, that's where the collective consciousness is. So you're tuning into something bigger than yourself. Even though it feels like it's coming from you, it's coming from somewhere else too. Your consciousness is merging with something higher than yourself. You're bringing it down, and it depends on how you bring it down. If you want to bring it down to make a beautiful painting or write a book, or you want to tell somebody something about themselves, it's all the same thing. It's just the same energy utilized in different ways.
Yes. I love that. Oh, that's weird. Somebody has said that one of the links to your channel isn't coming up. It's working. It worked for me. So, sorry. Denise's new channel comes up with this video as
I'll have to check into that. That could be because I haven't put anything up for a while.
So I think what you're saying is really so important, and I'm glad you do it. Are you teaching classes to help people develop their psychic abilities?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
I've been doing that since the pandemic because I was doing the YouTube thing and people kept asking, will you teach me? You teach me a class? And I had a long time ago in my 20s, I tried to teach channeling and that was disastrous. So I didn't really try to teach again. And I didn't know if I could teach it. And then I started breaking down things where I thought, well, how did it help? What helped me in the process of honing my psychic ability? And I realized a lot of it is actually guided meditation is really the key to it, actually. Okay. And so I started doing that during the pandemic, and a lot of those people still are coming to my classes 5 years later. Great. So that's what I do. I do guided meditations. I've taught some remote viewing, but that's kind of boring. So we try lots of different things. Whatever people kind of collectively think they want to learn, we kind of push into that direction too, as well. So, yeah.
So I neglected to ask you about remote viewing. Perhaps that's for something for another time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't recommend remote viewing that much in terms of like, it's a very kind of, it's a discipline and it's kind of boring. I think if you can learn to use your psychic ability, it's much more free flowing and fun. You know, it's not so tedious. It's kind of tedious, remote viewing, in my opinion.
I have a friend who's studying it, and it's very structured.
It's extremely structured, and I am not somebody who likes structure too much.
What?
Exactly.
What? No, color me surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not for me really, but I know how to do it and I've taught it, but I find it kind of boring. So, what can I say?
I think, there's this connection between creativity and intuition and magic. My friend, when he does the remote viewing, he approaches it from a magic standpoint.
Right.
That's how he started. And
right.
He's like, oh, this makes perfect sense. It's blah, blah, blah. And not everybody comes from that view.
Well, it's interesting because I've also studied magic, both natural magic and ceremonial magic, and they're very different. Natural magic is free flowing, creative, in the moment, communing with nature. Ceremonial magic is like the Catholic Church on steroids. It's super
Times 10.
anal, times a
Yes.
million. Yeah, it's
Oh,
super,
yes.
blah, blah. And if you come from a ceremonial magic background, I could totally see where remote viewing would be totally like, copacetic, because
Mm-hmm.
it's hyper structured, and certain people really do well with that. I mean, some people
Yes.
are just, that's what they love, and that
Mm-hmm.
is not me. So good for them. You know what I mean?
Well, well, and I think what's really important is that every single person who's watching us, what you're doing for your creativity and how you engage with your creativity is exactly what you should be doing,
Right.
because we all benefit when you are doing your creativity and you're thinking about things in a creative way. All of the energy shifts, we're going to benefit from it as a species.
Yeah, I think that's true for everyone. I think everybody just, I think the other thing is embracing what makes you unique and kind of leaning into it as a creative too. I've seen people, and I've done it myself. It's not just me. I mean, I'm not saying just only other people have done it. I've done it myself, where you get an idea of what you should be doing and you kind of think you should be doing one thing. Like, I had a friend who's a brilliant genius musician. I mean,
Mhm.
brilliant. And but he wanted to be a songwriter. And he's not super verbal though. And so he
Oh,
tried that route, and he was okay. I mean, wasn't terrible or anything, but he's not a great songwriter. He's a great musician. And once he kind of stopped trying to, he just allowed what was naturally his strongest suit, he became extremely successful as a composer.
I
And
love
he's a genius composer. I mean, he's really successful. And it's my point is that I think he felt that route was the route, because that's the sort of prescribed route to become famous or
that.
whatever.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And I think a
Yep.
lot of us get these ideas of what we should be based on what culture tells us we should be. And if you just embrace what you're great at, you'll become super successful in that, and you'll find your own path forward, especially now more than ever, because the internet is, it's sort of a random generator. Anybody can find anything that they want, and you'll find your path. So trust what your gifts are, I think, is a huge thing.
That's really beautiful. I would also encourage people to stop overthinking it.
Yes, I agree with that 100%.
Just
Yeah.
just just allow it to be. You don't need to have an explanation of why it's working or why it doesn't work for you yet. Sometimes there's that when you look at things with from the critic standpoint, why isn't this working? But that's a different thought process.
Right. And just put that aside until later. I mean, do
Yeah.
the work and then later look at it. Don't think about it while you're doing it. That's right.
Yes.
Be in the moment.
I think that's so powerful. Um, Denise, you've been incredible. Thank you for being here.
It
I
was
mean,
great fun. Yeah,
thank
really fun.
you. And you can stop overthinking. Actually, Gary, one of the things that I do, I have this little technique.
Do you?
I do. It's when my mind is overactive. I think of my mind as a monkey, and
That's a good way to look at it.
I set my monkey down with a math book to keep it occupied.
That's a good idea. I like that.
I just don't say, you sit over there, you sit over there, and here's a math book. You work on those. And it's just like, it's like, okay.
Does it work?
It does. It works probably about 50% of the
That's
time,
good. That's good. That's a good.
which is great. Which is, yeah, it's really, really very helpful. So,
Absolutely.
um, please, everybody, remember to like and subscribe. I do have more creativity conversations coming up, and I appreciate everybody being here, showing their support. It's great to be able to encourage you to think about something a little differently. We're not forcing you to do anything. We're just saying, what would happen if?
I think always anything you've ever dreamed of trying, just fucking do it. That's what I think. I always, people think, oh, I would like to paint. Just fucking paint. Don't care. Just suck at painting for a while and don't even worry about it. Don't show anybody your paintings. Just do it for the hell of it.
Just do
And
it.
just do it. Just do it. It'll make you happy.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Take care. We will see you next time. Bye.